Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more.
Shaboopity doopity.
Shaboopy. Well then, let's get this show underway. Hey there guys, Jubilee here again. As always, still want to. This is the play-in chat, but always playing with his balls, and I'm chatting about how girthy mine are. This is PNC episode 14, I believe.
Slap that shit.
So, what we're going to be talking about today... Actually, what are we even talking about? What am I even doing? I don't even know. I've lost track.
So we were gonna talk about racing games?
Well, hold on. First, we gotta get the stuff out of the way. First, what have we been doing the last couple weeks since last episode? You weren't even a part of the last episode, and that episode was lost to time. It never even came out. I should explain that. There was an episode that was going to come out during the Halloween. I did not forget Halloween, guys. Shenanigans ensued. Recordings were fucked up, and well, yeah. I'm gonna try to figure out how to salvage that episode. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Weddings were happening.
That's true. Wedding happened. The man ain't even here. Super Pixel dude. He ain't even here.
Whoa!
Man got married. He's chained to the woman. Now he can't even make it to the podcast because she's dragging him away from his computer.
Little horror.
Very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Yeah. But yeah, it's been a pretty chaotic month. Besides my brother getting married, you know, lots of passings of family happened. My family, other side of my families, they've had their family members pass. It's been a really weird month. Honestly, October's been kind of hectic. It's been really weird, at least on my side. What about you? How's October been for you?
Let's see some of the new stuff that I've done so far. I was able to recently get my Oculus Quest traded in, so that way I can start a new fresh Oculus Quest, one that with a battery that won't die on me too fast. What else? I rearranged some stuff for my my computer setup, so everything's a little more roomy, a little more organized, which is great. Did a little bit of late or early spring cleaning, depending on how you look at that. But
Right.
Other than that, I did pick up some new games. Yeah, for the PS5. So there's that.
Well, what game did you pick up? Was it Realm Royale? My favorite game.
Oh man, Realm Royale. They now have that on the physical edition. Gotta
Ah,
buy
yes.
that shit. That's the shit.
It finally came to physical, baby!
It's every person's dream. Realm Royale physical edition.
Yes.
Even though it's online only.
Perfect. That's what we all want.
Right? But no, I ended up picking up Demon Slayer. So far, I'd say it's very similar to any sort of Naruto game. I just think the artwork, honestly, the artwork pops out a lot more to me, so it makes it more, I guess, aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
And then the moves just look a little bit flashier, I guess. I really like the Japanese ink style. Other than that, not really too much. So, yeah, that's pretty much what was new.
There you go. I kind of forgot you bought that game. I just
Yeah,
forget.
yeah.
To me, I honestly forget that game even came out just because it's that Naruto system. It's okay. To me and John, it's okay.
Yeah, pretty okay.
I mean, hey, as long as you're having a fun time with it, I'm sure a lot of other people are having a good time with it. No,
Oh yeah, there's tournaments and stuff for it all the time.
that's good. I will say, because it does look at least a little bit more stable than some of the other Naruto games that have come out.
Yeah, I'd definitely say so. The combat feels pretty simple, which is nice because then at least it's not too hard to play. But the only thing is that since it's pretty simple, everybody has basically the same sort of button input. You just mash one button and you can alternate between heavies and lights, and you can power yourself up to do a little more damage, and that's pretty much it.
Right, right. So I was just trying to think though. I feel like you've played more of those games than I have. Would you say Xenoverse 2 is probably about the worst one of them, or was there one worse than that?
Kakarot.
Kakarot. Really?
Yeah, Kakarot. Kakarot, I think, is crappy.
Huh.
It's basically Xenoverse GTA. Go wherever you want, and then pretty much play Xenoverse. It's more of an open world Xenoverse.
Yeah, because I've seen the open world part, but it's like, again, to me, I don't know of how much the combat really differs between each of those games. So I don't know which one would technically be worse. So, interesting that Kakarot's the worst one. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's always Dragon Ball Fighters.
Honestly, it's probably better that you get like a sort of free open world sort of thing. But the thing is that that's all there really is to it. You're pretty much just playing Xenoverse after that. You just get a little more open world, in my opinion. So it's like, you kind of added something, but it didn't really add too much.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I'm trying to think. Games that have come out. Games that I've bought and I've played. I can't think of any.
Hero Slayer.
I don't think I've played any new games that come out.
Skull the Hero Slayer. There we go. I ended up actually getting that game.
I haven't played it. I noticed it's on sale. Is it good?
So, again, I ended up getting that game for the Switch. I hadn't said so before. But honestly, as small as it seems for like pixel wise, it has a little bit of a hard time trying to run. If there's too many enemies on screen, the Switch just freaks out.
That sounds about right.
You'll get some frame rate drop. Nothing like screen tearing or anything, but it's just more of just like hard frame rate drops.
Yeah.
And that's surprising for the game that it is, since it's a pixel side-scrolling slash and hack and slash. But overall, I like the skull choices. There's always something new whenever I play. So one of the examples that I could put out is that I was going around fighting all these enemies, and I came across a rocker skull. And basically what it is the skull creates music notes and uses them as projectiles. Granted, it's not like a super far range projectile, it's more of like a close range projectile. But if you keep on attacking long enough, it'll actually send out a band that'll damage pretty much all the enemies on screen for a limited time.
Yeah, I was gonna point that one out because that was the video you sent me. I didn't really find it that funny. I was just like, yeah, that sounds about right. It seems like that type of thing. It kind of makes me think of like a hack and slash version of Kirby, you know?
Right.
It's not a bad thing. It's like,
Right.
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely some cool skulls in there to be explored.
I know they have some crossover ones. The Dead Cells heads in it. I know that much.
Yes, that one is in it.
I don't know if Shovel Knight's in it. I know they have some crossovers. I don't know if all the crossovers are in it.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the crossovers either, but definitely a nice touch when they do have the crossovers show up. The skulls are randomly generated, of course. I believe it's made by the same developers as Dead Cells, which is why it got that crossover.
It could be, but I don't think it is, because it's like one of those things like Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight's fucking everywhere, you know?
That's true. But
and
then
they're
again,
still getting their game out. Speaking of, there's also some news on that, but we'll get into that later. But yeah.
So, yeah, I mean that's definitely true. But so far, I enjoy the game. It's very similar to Dead Cells, where if you die, you pretty much restart from scratch, and you just gotta work on leveling yourself up. Man, fighting the bosses are so difficult. I feel like it was way harder than playing Dead Cells.
Well, okay, so is it a roguelike or a roguelite? Because roguelite is you level up some of your stuff in the beginning, so your base stats kind of get bigger, and then you can kind of keep going. We'll still having the rogue part to it. If it's roguelike, then it's like Binding of Isaac, where it's like you reset like hard, nothing new.
I guess I would say it's a roguelite, considering that, so you earn crystals, in which you can use as points towards your towards certain power ups and level based stats. And then after that, you still hold on to your crystals and everything. But if you don't beat any of the bosses, or you'll gain like small amounts of crystals, but beyond that, like any skulls and stuff that you had acquired in the past, you don't get those until you find like merchants and everything to kind of help you out along your way.
Right. Okay, yeah, very Dead Cells like. Yeah. Because I know Dead Cells, like, I don't think there's a currency you keep afterwards, but I know it's like you can unlock more stuff and make stuff stronger. Or less, or your, the stuff on your person stronger. So it's like, I can get a bigger flask to hold more potions or whatever. And that always carry through between every playthrough.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what makes it super, super difficult, because it forces you to get good, but the game is just kind of almost hard in itself. It's just really difficult.
Yeah. Those kinds of games tend to be difficult. I mean, look at Risk of Rain. We all played that. That was fun, but it's like, goddamn, is that game hard? That's all those games are. Same with the game we have right now, Legendary Tales. Very hard.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the hard part about it, is that if you get through like a certain amount of levels, and the levels are long, and you decide that, you know, you want to take a rest or something like that, if you completely quit the game, it resets you back to square one, or floor one.
Actually, I looked at it. It doesn't. When you set up the lobby,
really?
you can actually choose what floor you want to start on.
Well, then I guess we'll have to brush up on that once I get my quest back, because right now it's getting switched out for the new one. So
Yeah. So we can start back on floor 3. I looked at that. I was like, oh, okay. So we don't at least start back at floor 1. Thank God.
right.
But yeah, now that you're saying that, I actually did get a whole lot of new things. My side, yeah, I got an Oculus. I got Legendary Tales. That's also a rogue. I don't know. That's not really a roguelite. That's really a roguelike. I guess the only light part of it is that your magic carries through, even if you die. That's about it.
Well, I mean, so do your points. Your points kind of
your magic and your base stats. Those two things level up. Your equipment doesn't though. So yeah, roguelite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it does, unless like you actually go back for it
And lose it forever. Yeah, that's the thing. So you could lose it forever. But
yeah. So it's kind of like an in between, which is nice.
yeah,
It's mostly
it's just
dependent
really
on,
heavy on RNG, whether
Yeah.
you get good stuff or not. But yeah, we got that. Got my Oculus. I also bought RE4, which you did too.
That shit's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I guess I'll talk about that. RE4 Vr. That's a really fun game. I said to you guys before, it is probably about the funnest version of RE4 with the least amount of content, which fucking blows.
Yeah.
So I'll get more into that right now, because the thing that makes it a lot easier is that the basic settings they give you is that you get full 360 motion, so you're not in tank controls anymore. It's like you're playing Call of Duty in a Resident Evil game. So you don't have tank controls where it's like, oh, you move forward and you have to like slowly turn left or right, and it's like, nah, you can just move in every direction wherever you want to. It don't matter. Run and gun. But the gameplay's good. You can change the settings to make it like more RE4, so you can do that. But the part that's missing the most content out of it is that they took out Ada's mission. That's entirely gone. Mercenary mode is entirely gone, so there's no Hunk, there's no Krauser you can play as, there's no Ada you can play as. And then they also took out the last bonus outfits. So Leon's gangster outfit isn't in the game anymore. Ashley's armor isn't in the game anymore, and same thing with the Chicago typewriter. So there's 5 things missing out of the whole thing. They still put the LPR, the Lost Plagas Removal Cannon, still in the game, but there are still a couple things missing. It's hard to say if I'd recommend it, and it's really hard to recommend it if you don't own Oculus. I don't know personally if it's worth $350 to buy it, you know?
Right.
Because Oculus is $300, and then the game itself is $40, and it's like with tax, it's probably like $360. Regardless, it's like hard to say it's $360 worth for a game.
Well, then again, I mean, of course, people aren't gonna just buy it for the one game, right?
But again, it's like it's hard to justify. It's like, is it a $360 game good? Not really. I wouldn't say so. I'd just say get the game on whatever console you have it on and have fun with that. To be honest.
Yeah.
It's hard to justify a game where you have to put $300 more just to play it, you know?
Right.
I guess it'd be different if it was like a PS5 where it's like, oh, it's like an upgraded version of the PS4 and it's like you have like all these backlog games on it. It's like, no, this is Oculus 2. This is a Facebook thing only. And it's like, what can you play on it? There's not a whole lot of Facebook games on there. Sure, you connect it to Steam, which is nice, so you can at least upgrade your library. So if you do have some VR games you're looking at on Steam, probably go with the Oculus, so then you can knock Steam games out with your Facebook games. But again, it's kind of hard to justify if you're only buying it just for that thing.
Yeah, of course, I'm pretty sure people would actually... No, I would say that do your research before purchasing the Oculus Quest, because you got to be sure of the games that you'd want to play on the Oculus Quest. Yeah, the developers are still implementing new ideas and games to be able to play it and have a little more variety in it. But I would say that honestly, the library kind of expanded once we downloaded the Oculus app onto the PC with compared to like actual on the store, because if you're going through the actual Oculus store, there's only so many games. But as soon as we downloaded it to the PC, there was actually more games that were excluded. So it's kind of like a pick your poison kind of thing.
Yeah. And if you're looking to connect your Oculus to your computer, don't look what people are saying that you need to buy a $30 app on the Oculus store to be able to connect it to your computer. They're fucking idiots. Go to Oculus's website and download the Oculus link. It's completely free.
Yeah.
It's provided by Facebook because they're like, why would you pay for an app? And some dudes made an app saying like, oh, if people don't do their research, well, we'll just make money off of them because they're idiots. It's like, it's very true. I was about to pay $30. I didn't pay a single dime now. It was worth it.
We almost got on needing the Neanderthal boat.
We still have the $30 now that I think about it. From Facebook. Yeah.
And that's what I was saying, that we should save those $30 to get this game called After the Fall, which is essentially a VR game of Left 4 Dead. So
yeah, you showed me that. Yeah, I remember that.
So if you guys are looking for a game that's like Left 4 Dead, look at After the Fall. So yeah,
hopefully we can get our impressions on that, see if it actually feels good. Because what was it? There's that thing Mark Zuckerberg was talking about with VR games in the interview he did not so long ago. But I don't know. He kept saying like, "Oh yeah, Arizona Sunshine's a good game." I don't know if it's maybe the Oculus version's better, but me and Joan, we played the PlayStation version of that game. That's the first game that actually gave me motion sickness, and I don't get motion sickness that easily in VR. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. Arizona Sunshine's not that good of a game either. It's kind of okay. It's not good. Yeah. Super Hot's a good game in VR. Killing Floor 2, not super great, but it's better than most games. I think the best VR game right now, next to Re4, would have to still be Saints and Sinners. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. That is an excellent game.
Yeah, I could definitely agree on that, and it just feels like it's well put together compared to some other VR games, because some other VR games, some of the grabbing mechanics is a little finicky. It's a little sensitive when you're trying to pick up items off the ground. In Saints and Sinners, I really don't find that to be too much of a problem. No,
I never played the Oculus version of Saints and Sinners. I had the PlayStation version of it, and even then, it was still super good. That was really fun. Speaking of VR stuff, keep in mind, Oculus 2 kind of, I'd say a little finicky with Steam VR. like it works and it works entirely, but it feels like it wasn't entirely made for it, you know?
Right.
But I mean, it is still worth it. Again, if you're looking to knock out your Facebook games with your Steam games, I'd probably say worth it. I don't know if it's worth getting the what's it fucking called? The Valve Index. I don't know if it's worth getting the Valve Index. I mean, unless you're some rich dude and want to spend $1,000 on a VR headset that only works for Steam, be my guest. That's the most expensive option out there.
Well, here's the cool thing about what Vive is doing is that
No, it's not Vive. It's the Valve Index. This is
my bad.
I would say yes. This is Steam's first party company version of their own VR headset. That's not Vive or
right.
Yeah, it's like eesh, it's really expensive.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not even worth it.
Yeah, I'm looking at sorry, $999. Sorry, $1 off. 9,000. Oh no, it comes with Half-Life Alyx. Oh, what a steal! What a steal! Jesus Christ. Yeah, if you have some VR games you're looking at on Steam and you also want to get RE4, probably look into an Oculus Quest 2. So you can know like both things at once. And also, if you want to touch titties and what's it called? I can't think of the game right now. VR chat, there it is.
Oh.
Touch your virtual titties and sleep with girls in VR chat. It's so hot.
Sleep with guys?
What? No, shut up. They can't possibly be guys. Not my men. Women.
Oh man.
But yeah.
But no discrimination against homosexual people, but I'm just saying, man.
No
discrimination, but
I
mean,
ain't got nothing wrong with it. It's just I don't get the appeal of virtual reality. I don't know. I guess sex it's called because it's not really sex. It's just kind of like fake cuddling with something that's not even there. You know? I don't know. It's real weird.
I mean, if you want to feel like someone's there, I guess that's about as close as you get.
I guess. I don't know. It's just real odd. I guess at that point you might as well just go to conventions.
Well, I don't think they'd be willing to sleep with you for the day unless you paid some pretty good money there.
No, they really wouldn't. Even then, I swear, I could have sworn that people were actually paying to quote-unquote sleep with women in VR chat.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. It's like, I don't... Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. It's real weird. I mean, it's not my type of market, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't have a really good foothold to say anything about it, so... I don't know.
I mean, it just goes back to the saying, anybody will be willing to do anything for the right price.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Well, before we go on the news, I have one small correction I keep forgetting to get out of the way. I've been meaning to talk about this. It'd be Meslug Code J. You've heard me talk about this game in the past. It is an iPhone version of Meslug. What it seems to be is like Meslug 1 through 3, so you can play a lot of missions on it. I kept saying that there's been no news for the longest time, only because I haven't been up to date with it. It has since then been renamed as Meslug Awakening. That is the game, what's being currently called right now. People have played the beta of it. There are literally full playthroughs on it already because people have beaten the beta so long ago. So, if you want to look up footage, it's all there. New weapons. I don't know. It seems really cool. It's because it's just a 3D version of Meslug. It's better than Meslug 3D on the PS2, to be fair. But when it's coming out, who knows? It still says releasing this year. There's only 1 month left, so I don't know. But Meslug Awakening, it's coming out to phones soon? I don't know. Hard to say.
Time will tell, I guess.
What was that?
I said time will tell, I guess.
And yeah. Because speaking of games that are coming out, not this year, but coming out at the beginning of next year, because now this is more of the news, would be Shovel Knight Dig. Shovel Knight Dig has been delayed and is said to be coming out near next year. So I don't know if it's going to be coming out in January, February, but they have delayed it for 2022, but it's not too far around. So the sequel to damn it, Shovel Knight would be Shovel Knight Dig, and that's coming out very soon, and it still looks really good. It's just a sequel to Shovel Knight, so always down for that.
Phone game.
I
was gonna say it sounds like a phone game.
No, it was going to be a phone game, but then they actually made it to like a huge title, so now it's gonna be like a console game.
Interesting.
Because now the phone game is, I want to say, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. I want to say.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know, right? It's really weird because when they first showed off Shovel Knight Dig, it was originally going to be a phone game, and then it got delayed for like 3 years. Because they're like, we're going to make this a real thing. It's like, alright. Because, I mean, they've also been working on, what was it? Cyber Shadow? Was that what it's called?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, I was saying, because that came out before that, so yeah, I want to say they're just putting all their effort into making Shovel Knight Dig. At least finishing that up. Which is nice, because instead of 8-bit, it's going to be 16-bit now, so pretty nice looking graphics.
Yeah, Shovel Knight.
Woohoo! Speaking of games that are coming out at the beginning of next year, Bloodborne Remake. You heard of this?
Is that the one where it's the Bloodborne kart game?
Yes and no. That is the side game in it. Bloodborne Remake, also known as Bloodborne PSSX? The PS1 emulated version. I could have sworn it was one person, maybe it's multiple people though. I will just say there's been a couple of people, they have been working on a PS1 remake version of Bloodborne. It's going to be running on the PS1 emulator and is set to be coming out on January 31st of next year. So coming out in 2 months. I'm excited because, yeah, they also have Bloodborne kart in it. It was an April Fool's joke, and then the person said, fuck it, making a real thing.
It was a joke, but then it wasn't.
It's just like fucking, what's it called, Yakuza 7. Yakuza 7 was announced, or sorry, Yakuza Like a Dragon was announced on April Fool's Day as an RPG. People were like, yeah, I don't know, maybe I could play as RPG. And the creator's like, huh, right, an RPG, that'd be funny, right? Here we are now, it's an RPG. So, you never know. People make things on April Fools and they come true. That's what they be. So, Bloodborne Remake coming out very soon. I'm excited. Looks fun. Looks really fun. And speaking of games that have been announced, because there hasn't been a lot of news of games coming out. Because I think we just hit it, which was October. A lot of the games are coming out in October. Not a lot of things are coming out now. So the thing that was also announced, I don't know if it's going to be only on Facebook, would be GTA San Andreas Vr. I'm kind of on the fence about this, honestly. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm kind of excited on one hand. On the other hand, I'm not really too excited. It's kind of hard to put it.
I'm not really sure what to take on that.
I think it's just because it's such an old system. I don't know how to feel about it. You know?
Right.
Like, I'm trying to think about it. It's like, I don't know. The old GTA games from like, what would it be? GTA 3 to San Andreas. It's like I feel like they're just so limited because all it is just melee and shoot. There isn't really a whole lot going on in it. Kind of like Resident Evil, which isn't a lot more per se, but it's still a little bit more than just that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds cool though, but I guess I'll just wait on it. I don't know.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like playing the old school GTA games is just better in third person.
Yeah. I mean, the first person option was always there, but it never felt really good.
Right.
Speaking of, there's that, what is it? The new San Andreas game. Sorry. The GTA collection is now out, which I believe is GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. You can get it. I think it works fine. Only problem with it is all the original music is out, so if you want to try to find the original OST for any of the games, good luck trying to find the PS2 version and the Xbox original versions. Because those are the only ones that are going to have the OSTs from the original releases. Yep.
Oh, I guess if we're talking about upcoming games and possible upcoming games, I'd say there's the we talked about this before. It was regarding the, let's see,
Realm Royale coming out.
it was regarding Twisted Metal. There we go. So
Right.
So the developers of Destruction All Stars are possibly looking into remaking the game for Twisted Metal, and honestly, I felt like Twisted Metal Black was the best out of the Twisted Metal games.
It's the only one I played.
Right. So hopefully they just do a remake of that, because I'd absolutely buy it.
Right.
And
You know,
then-
speaking of games, I'm just surprised that fucking JoJo Battle Royale game never came out in Japan. It's still only in Japan. Now I think about it. I still want to play it. It still seems kind of cool. 'Cause what was it? I think it's literally a 2v. Yeah, I think it's like a 2v2 game. So it's like you're just in a team of two, you and your pal, and then you just run around Moriocho from JoJo Part 4, and you fight a bunch of other JoJo characters.
Huh. Interesting.
It seems cool, but again, it's only in Japan. I think the problem with it now, I think it was only in Japan arcades, which was weird. They said Japan arcades because they had PlayStation button prompts. But regardless, I hope it come out, because since COVID, arcades have been kind of shutting down. And speaking of, what was it? I just heard news that like a lot of the cafes are shutting down there. So like some of like the Gundam cafes are shutting down in Japan. So it's like, oh schmucks.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of sucks. Because what is it? Apparently, like one of them that's shutting down is the one that has the huge Gundam statue, like the 10-foot Gundam statue outside.
Well, that's...
It's like, damn, that fucking blows. I only know about that statue because if anyone remembers the 3DS AR cards, if you have your Mii out, there's a pose where your Mii has like kind of like a mean looking face, and he has a one hand pose up in the air. It's because it's based off of that Gundam statue. I shit you not.
Huh.
Yeah, because what was it? I only know about it because a bunch of Japanese dudes, they made... I think it took them like 300 pages, but they printed out a giant AR card with a bunch of paper and taped it all together. They put it outside next to the statue, and they had a giant AR card, me, standing next to the Gundam statue, doing the same pose. It's kind of cool. But that's the only reason I know about that place, just because that video is like, damn. Now that cafe's closing down. Like, on one hand, I've never been to Japan, so I never got to experience it, but on the other hand, it seems like I'll never experience it now, so it kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Times are changing. Times are changing.
Well, I mean, with bad changes could also come some good changes, so we'll just have to find out.
The Gundam Cafe now takes up 3-story apartments. It's got
If you
even
came to the
better.
apartment, welcome to the Gundam Apartments. Pick your mech suit.
That'd be awesome, man. You say that now as a joke, but man, that'd actually be pretty cool. Unless it's one of those what's it called? One of those coffin apartments. You seen those where it's like
Yes.
basically just sleeping in a closet? It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, that'd probably freak me out. I'd feel claustrophobic, to be honest.
I would too, but I mean, at least if they stylized it like a mech pod, I think I'd be more happy with it. But I don't think they're gonna.
I mean,
do
you
that.
say that now.
I don't mind sleeping in a small space like that. But the fact that it's just like basically a closet, it's like, don't know if I really pay money if it's just a closet.
The only time it becomes a real problem is if you can't open the door.
Well, hopefully I can kick it down.
No, you can't open the door. It's forever locked.
Hope I don't fart too bad. I don't want that place smelling.
Now it becomes your tomb.
The Toot Tomb. Oh no. The smelliest of caves. Well, I think that's about all the news, because again, a lot of news hasn't really been coming out. The only last piece of news I have, I guess, would be, was it Mad God? Man. I really want to see that movie, Mad God. If no one knows what Mad God is, if anyone's seen the original RoboCop or Aliens, it's the guy who made all the stop motion for those figures back in the day. So the one who made like Et 209 from RoboCop, he made his own movie called Mad God. It fucking blows. All the DVDs are sold out right now, and you can only watch his film in like film studios. It's all around the world, and none of them are in fucking Washington.
Well, now it looks like we got Mad Bad.
It's like, I have no idea how to see that movie, and I really want to see it, because it looks super cool, but it's like, fuck, I can't watch it. I'm not going to fly all the way to France just to watch it.
Do it, fly all the way to France.
Oh. If I could, I would.
You know you want to.
If I could, I would. But I don't know if it's worth going to France for one movie.
Well,
honestly, I think it's about time we get onto the topic of today, which is going to be with Hot Wheels. It's going to be about racing games and what we like about them. So who wants to go first? Do you want me to go first? Do you want you to go first?
honestly, if I go first, it's going to be pretty damn short, because I don't play too many racing games.
I mean, I don't either, but I play racing games from time to time, and usually it's the ones I really do like. So
You probably play them more than I do.
I mean, you don't see me playing Forza. Fuck that game.
Yeah, Forza.
I don't get how people can play that kind of shit.
I get bored so easily. I'm not trying to diss on people
Forza,
who,
more like Boardza.
I can't do it.
Am I right? It's Boardza.
Yeah. I get pretty bored with it, to be honest.
Like, I don't know. I think we talked about this before. It's like, I don't get how people can... Like, I'm sure there is an appeal to it, but I don't get how people can play those types of games when they come out every year as the same thing, like with FIFA, NBA, NFL. I don't know. It's so weird. Like, they're the same thing every year, and people just keep buying them. I don't get it.
Yeah, I do not get it either.
But yeah, let's talk about games, what we like about it, because honestly, Hot Wheels Unleashed, I think, I wouldn't say it's the perfect racing game, but it's really good. It's got a nice mix match in between, like, a lot of games that I really do like about racing. Because Hot Wheels is pretty damn good. No one's played it. Like, I've talked to people like, you're playing Hot Wheels Unleashed? It's like, fuck yeah, man, that's a great-ass racing game. Like, holy shit. People are sleeping on that, man. You can make that game as broken as you want, or make it as fixed as you want, which is fucking amazing.
Well, honestly, you could... I mean, it's hard to say that it's really fixed, considering that literally people will just sit at the starting line. And
well, see, that's people... See, that's the online people playing it. I mean, there's always going to be people who are just sitting there just for the money, because honestly, locking cars is really atrocious, which I don't blame them. But I'm talking about as fixed as it is. I'm talking like track-wise. It's like you can make the track as broken as you want. So it's like, oh yeah, you can just make it so you can have like a 3-second shortcut so you can beat the lap in 10 seconds instead of doing like a 60-minute track. You know?
Right.
Because like there's ways to get around it. It's like you can make a broken track, you can make a fixed track, you can make shortcuts, you can do this, you can do that, and it's like, again, I think it's a really great game. That is amazing. Again, the online play, probably not the best. It's good for private though, if you want to have some like really good private matches. Because I've had some online matches where it's like, I wouldn't say everyone's racing, because not everyone is going to be racing, but there's some really good online matches you can get out there with other people who are just racing. It is fun. Because I think what makes that game really good is, it's the thing that I like about racing games. I like fun, arcadey type of games. I like games that don't feel too down in realism. I find realistic games kind of really boring, like Forza. I don't know. It's not too fun. It feels kind of slowish. Because then you go to the opposite spectrum where you got games kind of like Mario Kart, right? It's like, I guess I consider Mario Kart more of like a arcadey racer, or sorry, a party racer. There we go. You know, it's a party racer where it's like you got rubber banding, so even if you're in last place, you still have a good chance to get back to first place. And then it's just like, oh, you get your little power ups, and then you can always mess with people behind you. You can mess with people in front of you. Again, it's more, I'd say, probably like a party racer. That way, like, everyone at least has like a decent time with each other, getting mad at each other, and still have like a pretty close race between each other, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about racing games that come with close matches, I would say the game Cruise and Blast. There we go. Trying to think of the name. Cruise
That's
and
right.
Blast.
I still haven't played that yet. And that is another one of those games where I was going to say it's like a kind of not really like Burnout 3. I haven't played Burnout 3 in a good minute, but I know that game doesn't have hard rubber banding. Because, what's it called? From what I've seen with Cruise and Blasts, is that there isn't no power-ups in the game, but there is boost. But the rubber banding is still pretty hard in it, so at least everyone will kind of be like neck and neck with each other. While you're just kind of doing like a straightforward race, right?
Right. So there is some rubber banding when it comes to the computer based racers. There's some pretty harsh rubber banding when you're choosing certain difficulties, and I guess that makes sense. But when it comes to player to player based racing, you're most of the time you're always neck and neck. And honestly, it kind of sucks because the only way that you can really get ahead of your opponent is if you do flips off of them. You can angle your car, and if you hit them at a certain angle, it'll actually make you do a flip over your opponent, which gives you a speed boost. That in itself is actually less complicated than it sounds, but honestly, it just makes it too chaotic in that sort of racing sense. I would like for there to be more road hazards, so like stuff that's kind of like blocking the raceway, environmentals just being just like coming down out of nowhere to smash the player or something like that. And that's what I also find lacking in Hot Wheels as well. And it kind of sucks that the way they're going about it is because you have to pay for those road hazards.
Yeah, but it's only the new ones that have come out so far. I mean, there's still a good chunk of road hazards in the game, you know?
Right, but honestly, it felt a little lackluster because it didn't seem like there wasn't enough of them. You got maybe like 4, maybe 5 of them, because you got the spider, you got the you have the scorpion, you have the snake. I'm pretty sure there's some other ones in there. I just can't think of them off the top of my head right now.
Oh, so because you got the roadblock, you've got the what's it called? You got the roadblock, you got the acid, you got the ice, you have the flipped motion track. So it's like you gotta pay attention, otherwise you can go on a track that's moving backwards. So then you're slowing down instead of actually moving fast.
Right.
There's still, I'd say, a decent chunk. I wouldn't say the ghosts are really a hard hazard because it's like the bloopers in Mario Kart. I never had a problem with it, but I mean, there is goop that spires on your screen that distracts you, I guess.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I think there's still at least a decent amount in Hot Wheels.
yeah, there's a decent amount, but honestly, I felt like there should have been a little bit more. And I can see that they were actually trying to make it a little bit more effective with some of the road hazards, like the spider, by adding tracking to it. And
Spider's so fucking
yeah,
annoying.
it makes it that much more annoying to try to get past it. But honestly, if they added a little more stuff, like the recent boulder hazard or environmental, That would be a bit cooler. But I guess then again, it's up to the idea of the person that's creating the track too, because you could always create your own tracks.
Yeah, because there's also that Batman one that's gonna have that new hazard. Was that the dual
Right.
hammer?
Yeah. I mean, you could probably honestly just make yourself a fucking gauntlet
You probably could, honestly.
and then see who survives.
And that's what I was gonna try to get back to. And it's like, yeah, I think that's what I like about Hot Wheels. Like, again, you can make it as broken or as fixed as possible. The fact that you can make like one-way tracks, you can make a completely hazard track. You can just make a straight racing track. I think it's just really fun in general. The fact that they've made it so it's like, oh yeah, you can go upside down. You can make it to where you can make a huge ramp jump off. So then you get to land upside down and still drive forward afterwards. I think it's just a really great game. It's just pure racing. It's like, again, the only thing that's gonna slow you down are the hazards.
Right.
The biggest part about it is like if you're playing online or even playing with friends, yeah, that game's got no rubber banding. Yeah, if you get fucked, you're gonna get fucked super hard. You gotta get good. It is definitely it's not gonna hold your hand on any higher difficulty or not. But I think it's just really fun. There's a lot of cool reference cars in it. It's just because they own it. So there's even like there's Street Fighter cars. There's the old Ghostbusters card. You can get a Snoopy car. I don't know. I think it's just a really fun game that's coming out recently. I think it's just way more enjoyable than fucking like Mario Kart. Mario Kart was up there for a good minute.
Yeah, I definitely find it to be a little more enjoyable than Mario Kart, just because, like, the skill gap that you have is huge. Because with Mario Kart, you can easily just throw a blue shell and you're easily just shoved to the back of the line.
And see, I was gonna say that, but then there's like in Mario Kart, the hardest thing about it is like the ones who actually are the masters at Mario Kart, they figured out the super hard shit. I don't know if you've seen any of it on Twitter. Editor, if you can find the clip, put it on there. Where like there's a Waluigi player where I think he was like in 7th place and he didn't get a blue shell. What he did was he went off the ramp mid-air, changed the controls to gyro controls, hard left turned it on a paraglider just so he can turn the corner and cut like 4 seconds off and got the first place in like last second. It's like, how the fuck do you figure that shit out, man? It's crazy.
Yeah, investing a lot of time.
Yeah, it's like Mario Kart's supposed to be like a party racing game, but even then Nintendo didn't realize like you can still make some really broken shit in it. Like that was the point with Mario Kart Wii, that no one used the carts. Everyone went to motorcycles because they had a natural speed boost on them.
Right.
So it's like Nintendo's always gonna have some flaws, but I mean that's not a huge issue. Again, the biggest part about what I like about Hot Wheels is that like what's gonna set you apart compared to everyone else is like it's gonna be your skill. Honestly, how good you are at making those turns and how well acquainted you are with your own car. That's what makes the bigger skill gap, and not just bullshit turns or like bullshit like shortcuts.
Right.
I really like about that. I think what's really neat about it too is because the games I really do like that I played way before this game came out would be like, I'd say the most standard ones, you know, like Burnout 3, F-Zero, Daytona USA. I played a little bit of Initial D when we went to Seattle. Me and Jordan playing it. I got the hang of it. It was pretty fun. And I think that's what makes the Hot Wheels really cool. Is like you can make the Hot Wheels play like any of those games. Like you can make a really drifty track, so it's like it can be just as tough as Initial D. You can make like a Daytona track, so it's just like straight shots and then drift turns. Just really getting skill down on that. I wouldn't say you can make like Burnout 3. Well, I mean, kind of. You can kind of crash people off the course. It's really risky though, because then sometimes you can crash yourself off the course.
Right. It's
But
just kind of, honestly, I feel like the drifting on the game is a little harsh.
How so?
So, like, the game will actually force you to slow down instead of actually like trying to like maintain your momentum as you're going through like turns in Hot Wheels.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The pre-made tracks that have come with it. Yeah.
Right. And so honestly, I find it sometimes pretty difficult to make those really, really sharp turns just because like the drifting gets super, super crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of the pre-made tracks aren't the best example. There are some really good pre-made tracks, but a lot of them aren't the best examples. Some of them are. Some of them feel like they've people who like played racing games and like, oh, I know how to make this track feel like you're going fast, or like I know how to make this one feel like it's good drifting while keeping good speed. And there's a lot of them where it's just like, it feels kind of directionless. It's like, huh. Feels more like a test demo that you're trying to figure out how you want the game to feel.
Right.
You know? And that's what I was gonna say. It's like, I think like, I think Hot Wheels is really good because it feels like the people of our generation that played a lot of racing games, because you can also like boost in the air. So it's like, you can do some of the stuff that was crazy in F-Zero where it's like, oh, tilt your car way up, boost in the air, turn your car a little to the right, you can skip like 30 seconds of a track. It's like, damn, that's really nice. Because you don't see that a whole lot in games anymore. And that's why I think it's really cool, because like, people who go into custom creator tracks, they make some really cool shit. Like, there's some people who made tracks in that game, it's like, I feel like they understand more how to make a really good track compared to the pre-made tracks. It's like, you can go nuts with it. Like, you can go like what you're talking about, like have like good momentum while drifting, and have like a really fast action-paced like track the whole time. It feels really nice.
But it makes it difficult because the cars in themselves, like just the mechanic in itself for drifting, it's a pretty big skill gap because of how easy it is to just lose control of your drift.
And that's the thing too, right? That's why I said in the very beginning, it's also the thing where it's like, you gotta get really well acquainted with your car, because like, if you keep switching between car to car to car, because each car does have different stats, it's like, some of them have way stronger drifting, some of them has such a loose drift too, and it's like, oh, you need to turn harder than this one. It's like, huh. It really is a big difference, and it's like, I don't know, I think it's just really cool. It's a really just fun game. The fact it's like, you can just play the game at your own speed and how you want it to feel like. It's amazing.
Yeah, Hot Wheels. I mean, there's still more to be added to. The developers are still going to be adding more cars, and there's just like endless possibilities with it.
Yeah, I really want to see them succeed. I want them to go far. I want to see this game be like the Smash Brothers of racing games. I want this game to be supported for like the next 10 years, because this game is so fun.
You got your Fortnite car, you got your Street Fighter car.
I don't think I sent you the picture, but what was it? You can buy your M. Bison truck right now if you really wanted to. Yeah. I think it's one of those things I was talking to Jordan. It's like, I think because whatever Hot Wheels crossover car that came out in real life, I think it's just like, yeah, we own the Hot Wheels version of that car. Do we own the character? No, but we own the car version of it. So, ours.
That's pretty cool.
And it's like, that's awesome. So I'm kind of glad that like they own all the rights to like their own cars that the Hot Wheels have released themselves. I think that's super neat. But yeah, Hot Wheels Unleashed, that's a fantastic game. I can't get over how good of a game has come out like that in the last couple of years. Again, I can't think of I don't know, I can't really think of a good racing game that kind of did that. I have like a couple games on my wish list that I hope are as good. Because I have a game on the list that looks like a Wave Racer game. Could it be good? I don't know. Because I think, what was it? I think it's Hydro Thunder Hurricane. That was a really good racing game on the water. That felt just pretty nice. And it's like, it had good wave mechanics. And it was just like, it was mostly about speed. It felt good. And I don't know, it's just one of those things because, what's it called? A lot of those racing games that came on the arcades, it's made by the guys who made Cruisin' Blast.
Right.
And some of them feel pretty formulaic, like kind of some of the stuff I've seen like Cruisin' Blast, where it's like just like a one-way track that lasts like 2 minutes long, and it's got all these crazy stuff in it, but it's kind of more of a straight shot, you know?
Right.
And that's the thing. It's kind of weird because, what was it? I think F-Zero kind of set the standard for racing games on how to like feel fast, because then you had like a lot of knockoffs. You had like was it Wipeout? You had I think the bike one's like GX2, I think. I wouldn't really call... I don't know, was there any racing segments in Twisted Metal?
In Twisted Metal, I don't think there was, to be honest.
Yeah, I
It
can't
was
think
just
so
more
either.
of the vehicle destruction base.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because, I mean, you had some games that were kind of like that, where it was like racing with destruction, like Destruction Derby. That was a fun game, but that was also a really weird one, because I went back to it, Destruction Derby on the N64. It's not good because you're supposed to crash into cars to do damage, but at the same time, it's almost like a 1-to-1 damage scale. So if you hit them, you're also hitting yourself extremely hard. So it's not really good to actually hit anyone. It's not like oh, what's that game that came out on the PS4s? It was that Destruction Derby game. I can't think what it's called. Was it
Wreckfest?
Wreckfest? There it is. Thank you. Where that game wasn't like 1-to-1 damage. So it's like, yeah, if you hit someone, the payoff's better than if you hit them, then they hitting you. That also had kind of some fun racing stuff in it. Not too well done because it was like all like soft body physics.
Right. And then there's the game Grip that I had back for the Xbox.
That's right. Yeah, there was Grip. There's also that... I never played it. There was also like Split Second. That was like a good racing game. That was kind of like crazy environmental tracks that kind of felt like Burnout.
Right.
That was one I never played, but I know people liked it a lot.
Yeah, with Grip, I felt like they were trying too hard. The game was fast paced, and the tracks and turns were like really sharp sometimes. But honestly, with the camera angles that I was going for, it made it really hard to tell where you were going. Honestly.
Yeah, I can believe it.
So yeah. So as far as racing games go, honestly, I would like to see I think it's called like WRX or something like that. Motocross Sport. I think that's what it was called. Motocross Sport X something. So in Motocross Sport X, you were able to do like flips and stuff, and you can actually like kick people off of their dirt bikes. That was really fun. You can also
that
get
sounds like
weapons.
what is it called? Back in the day, it was
Road
it like,
Rash.
Well, there's Road Rash, but there's the ones that came after. What was like Motor Mania or something like that?
I think that's what I was thinking of. Motocross Mania.
Yeah, I would say there's
Yeah.
stuff like that. I have like I think Motocross Mania 3.
Yeah, I think that
feels
was
okay.
the best one.
It's not terrible.
I think it was a lot of
yeah.
fun because honestly, you were able to just like knock out all your other competition.
Yeah, well, see that's the thing too. And then there's been like games that like try to keep more of like the competitive type of stuff. Because like I'd say F-Zero was a good factor for racing games, but then I'd say probably like Burnout kind of set that standard. Of, like you want like fun racing game where you can also crash into people. So then you had games like Road Rash. You had games like F-Zero. You had games like Road Rash. You had stuff like
Cross.
yeah, because yeah, I totally forgot about that Motocross Mania. Because I was actually thinking of what's it called, Pod Racing, Star Wars Pod Racing, because that was a pretty good one.
Honestly, hadn't heard of that one.
It was a really old game. I liked it back in the day. It was you kind of mostly just race between each other, but what it was is because like you're racing through the canyons, you have to like make sure like not to crash your shit into the fucking canyon walls or like rock formations that are just in the road. So it felt pretty good. It was a fun racing game. There's some dude who made a game like that that's on the Switch right now. I hope it's good, but I don't know. And it's just one of those things like it's hard to know if a game was good back in the day because of nostalgia or if it actually really was just good, you know?
Right.
And that's one of those things. It's like it kind of makes me nervous going back to some games because what was it? I went back to because a game I liked a lot back in the day was Wario Land 3. Went back to it. It's not as good as I remember it. I can see why people like 4 better than 3, and it makes a lot of sense too. Because I did the same thing with God Hand. I loved God Hand when I first played it. Went back to it. There are some issues with it. I still do like it a lot though. Burnout 3 does still hold up. And that's the thing. I need to try out the pod racing game. I don't know if it was good. I remember it being good, but I don't remember if it was good. Because Road Rash still kind of holds up. It's kind of hard to say if it really does, just because it's got such a low frame rate on some parts, but it is really still a fun game. You know, it's just really hard to know if like racing games were good back in the day, if they actually were good. Because yeah, Road Rash was good. F-Zero's still good. Burnout's still a good game. Yeah.
They don't make games like they used to.
Yeah.
They're trying to bring
I really
it back.
do like Hot Wheels. It's like, man, Hot Wheels came pretty damn good in a really good way.
Well, hopefully it paves the way for maybe another F-Zero game.
Right, because you're talking about racing games. What was it? You're talking about Motocross Mania. It made me think. Have you ever played any of like the ATV Unleashed games, where it was just like ATV like racing like on the dunes? So like you do
Honestly, I can't say that I have. Like I said, I never really played too many racing games back in the day. But if it was anything close to racing, I would probably say it would have to have been Motocross Mania, Need for Speed. I think it's Blacklist. I used to play that one, but then I just kind of dropped it after that one. What other racing games? Of course, there was Grip. But I only played that for so long, and then after like maybe a month, it kind of just lost its spark. Besides that, Mario Kart, but even then, again, that probably lasted like for maybe a month, just because of all the crazy bullshit that was happening with it. Just kind of got fed up with it. And then that was pretty much it. After that, I hardly ever played a racing game ever in my life again. Just because they just started pushing more towards like the more realistic style of gameplay. It's like, oh, now we got Forza, now we got Gran Torino.
Yeah, Gran Turismo, yeah.
Turismo, yeah.
And that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, there's like a lot of games that are like just kind of like decent out there. Like what was it? There was Hydro Thunder H2O. I think that was the last one that came out. And that was in 360. It was definitely okay. It wasn't that good compared to Hurricane. Same thing like with the other games. Where it's like there were some new releases of them that came out. Like I'd say Wreckfest. It was definitely decent. It wasn't that good though. It was definitely a-okay. Nothing that really stood out about it. And what was it? Make me think of another racing game. Rush. I wouldn't say Rush is super good, but it definitely still does hold up okay. It's not a perfect game. It still holds up okay. Same thing with oh god, because there's so many racing games. I was just thinking of another one. Oh, was it? I think it's Crash. No.
I think they remade Crash Bandicoot Racing.
I'm not thinking of Crash Bandicoot Racing. There was a. Was it? Maybe it was Rash. I don't remember. It's some weird racing game. Me and Joan still own it. It's on the 64. It's I don't know. It's definitely a-okay. It was like it was trying to be like a fast-paced Mario Kart. It's definitely decent. It makes me wonder how well what's it called? Lego Racing holds up. Because I know Lego Racing 2 came out, and I never played Lego Racing 2. Lego Racing 1, I did play a lot. I don't know if it was good, though. I remember it being good. But yeah, there's always just a bunch of decent racing games out there. It's really hard to find a really good one that actually, like, fits your taste, you know?
Right.
Again, there's so many of them. It's like, again, it's hard to tell if like the ones you liked were just good because of nostalgia or if they actually just do hold up.
Yeah,
it's really
honestly,
hard to say.
If I were to go back to Motocross Mania, I'm pretty sure it would still hold up, man. That game was too much damn fun.
Yeah, I need to try out 3 again. I remember I tried playing 3. I wasn't too good at it, but maybe if I gave it a second shot, I'm sure it'd probably play decent. sure it'd probably be like a better version of Road Rash, because there's Road Redemption. That feels okay. Road Redemption was definitely okay.
I saw gameplay for like Road Redemption, and the way that they were going about doing it is like, oh, you go, you drive around to a certain race points to do story. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
See, and I was kind of hoping it would be more like Road Rash, where it's like, it wasn't. It was like a weird. What's it called? Road Rash was kind of like a weird version of Burnout Paradise.
It was
like
simple and to
they
the
had
point.
like because
You
Burnout Paradise had like a huge.
whack people off their bikes. Come on.
Yeah.
What more do you need?
Yeah, because I was gonna say, Road Rash was kind of like a weird version of Burnout Paradise, where it's like it had this overworld, but then they set tracks inside the overworld, so it's like you can have like the same starting point as track A to track B, but then track A veers off into track C at some point, you know? And I was kind of hoping Road Redemption would be more like that. Instead, it was just, I don't know, it felt more combat heavy than more on the racing.
I felt like it was more story based, more like it tried to be like open world.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not open world though, because it's just like a randomly generated like single track that you're always on. I don't know. Felt just a little weird. It's definitely okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they remade Road Rash the way Road Rash was in the first place, then I'd be totally down to get it again, because that shit was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I definitely veered off a whole lot. But yeah, I wonder if like they remade Road Rash to be like kind of like more 1-to-1 with like slightly better controls. I wonder if it come out like pretty good. Because I know people, at least I think people liked Crash Team Racing, the remake. I think people liked it. So it always makes me wonder, is like if people can just come back and make the game like just good again.
Yeah, because I mean, compared to way back then, it probably wouldn't have gotten as much publicity as it probably would now, because we're during the time of the pandemic. People are like looking for games and stuff to play. There's definitely more people that are playing games than before the pandemic. So it would probably get more publicity, and probably would do well.
Yeah. Because it also make me think of Diddy Kong Racing. I think I only played it once in my life. But, I mean, that's another game people say are good, and it's like, yeah, I wonder if you just get the right people to remake it, and they can just make a good game out of it.
Right. Yeah, it's the age of the remakes.
Age of remakes, or potentially age of the sequels, right?
Yep, pretty much. So there's a lot of potential coming up for this upcoming year. So fingers crossed that they got something good going. Because honestly, I feel like on my watch list is for Spy. Or Sly, no, Sly, there we go, Sly.
Oh, I was like,
Sly.
Spy?
Sly Cooper,
Oh, okay, Sly Cooper.
Yeah. So, because they've been putting out a lot of Sly Cooper merchandise, like pop figures, and I feel like it's hinting at that they're going to be possibly making another Sly Cooper game, and I believe it's going to be the same developers of Ratchet and Clank.
That makes sense. Yeah, I heard about that rumor. That'd make a lot of sense. I think we talked about this before off the podcast and videos. Because, what was it? All the main characters, they're modeled in the Ratchet and Clank game, the new one. So that'd make a lot of sense. The car's in there. Sly's in it. I think the Hippo's in it too. I want to say Bentley, the turtle.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're making it.
Right. But as far as racing goes, if I had to say that if I wanted to see a remake of any racing game back then, honestly, I wouldn't have any idea, because I haven't played too many racing games. Honestly, I would say Road Rash. There we go, Road Rash.
Yeah.
Road Rash or Motocross Mania.
Yeah. Again, I'd totally be down for a Road Rash game. Again, I definitely need to try out that Star Wars pod racing game, see how that holds up, because again, there's a pod racing game I'm looking at. It looks good, but again, I don't know if the Star Wars one held up at all, even if it did. so it's hard to say. And then there's what's it called? Wave Race on the N64. I think the sequel was called Blue Ocean. And it's just like, yeah, it's hard to say if games were good because of nostalgia or if they actually played good. It's really hard to tell. But
Right.
a game that I'd like to see be obviously come back would be fucking F-Zero.
We can only hope.
And speaking of F-Zero, I can finally get into part of the other topic with F-Zero. I'm sure John did no research on this, but I caught wind of it because it somehow came across my lap. So, there was an article in a French website back in 2012 called Game Cult. So Game Cult on Twitter, they made a Twitter poll asking which is the most missed game that people would like to see come back. They had a poll of 4 games. I don't remember what the 4 were listed, but one of the 4 and French gamers had voted the most on were F-Zero. Unsurprisingly, since back in 2012, the game was last released in 2004, so it's been 8 years then. So Game Cult got a hold of Miyamoto and asked them if they're going to see possibly another F-Zero game come back on the Wii U. And here's what fucking Miyamoto said. I'm really pleased to hear Twitter's opinion because since the first episode on SNES, many games have been made, but the series has evolved very little. I thought people had grown weary of it. And then basically he said people buy a Wii U and play the F-Zero minigame in Nintendo Land.
Very suspicious.
Yeah, it fucking... And I read this article. It somehow came across my lap during the month of October. It fucking baffles me. It's one of the things I hate about Nintendo. I love Nintendo, but the one thing I hate about them is that I can't remember what video they said it on, but it's like they always have to innovate. And that's why it takes them a long time to make a game. It really fucking pisses me off. Because sometimes people don't want to innovate. They just want more of a game they like already. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because everybody's trying to shoot for the idea. It's like people want the next best thing rather than just the old thing, but just implement it in a new way.
But then again, it's one of those things where it's like, there's a reason people want Mario 64 2 basically to come out. And Bowser's Fury was the closest thing we got to it, because it's like, Mario 64 was a fucking good game. People just wanted that for the longest time. We got so many games that kind of weren't it. You know, we had Mario Sunshine, we had Mario Galaxy. Then there was just a bunch of 2D Mario games that all kind of played the same with like one new power-up. It's just like, it took like what? Since Mario 64 for Bowser's Fury to finally come out? And I guess Mario Odyssey was pretty close. It took like what? That'd been like 16 years? It's fucking crazy how they're always like, we have to innovate just to make a new game for the franchise. It was one of those things too, what people pointed out with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Because I thought so many things were new with the game, and then some people came out like a year later like, wait a minute, a lot of these mechanics are just from fucking Skyward Sword. I looked up Skyward Sword gameplay, it's like, oh yeah, straight up. The only thing that's different is that it's open world. Well, more open world. That's about it. It's like, I don't know. It's again, I love Nintendo, but it's the one thing I hate about them is that they always have to innovate, and it's just they can't make more of a thing that people like. There's a reason why people also want a sequel to Wind Waker. It's just a good game.
Well, I mean, some people live for the new. Actually,
Yeah.
A lot of people live for the new, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with new things, but again, there's nothing wrong with wanting more of an old game that was just with really good mechanics, you know?
Right. I mean,
So, and then there's a lead up to this article. So, earlier this year, back in April 16th, 2021, IGN has asked a former Nintendo staff employee, Takaya Imamura, He worked on F-Zero and Majora's Mask back in the day. So he hasn't been with Nintendo for quite some time since then, but they asked him if there was going to be an F-Zero game. And he says, "Of course I've thought about it many times, but without a grand new idea, it's hard to bring it back." And then he repeats the same thing Miyamoto said 9 years ago, what I just said a couple of minutes ago, and then he also adds on saying, "Why F-Zero? What do you want that we haven't done before?" Hence, this article that was posted back a couple months ago was F-Zero isn't dead. It's just sleeping.
Well, I mean,
It's,
I guess if it's sleeping, it's about time for it to wake up and find something new, because it ain't gonna get anywhere just by sleeping all day.
And that's the thing I'm talking about. It's like, people just want F-Zero GX because that's just a solid game. We just want more tracks with it. And it's the thing I was just talking about. They don't want to put it out because they have to make a new innovation for it. And it's just like, why? It's already good mechanics. Just make more tracks. Please. I mean, it's with Mario Kart. Mario Kart doesn't really change a whole lot. One, they added bikes. Another one, they just added paragliders. And then F-Zero... Well, sorry,
Yeah,
F-Zero. Mario Kart
honestly,
8, it was
they
just
could
like, look
be-
it. We made it like F-Zero. You can grind on walls now. It's like, fuck. Just make F-Zero then. Shit.
Yeah, because honestly, they could literally resell it for just a little more than the original price. Or
And
actually,
I was thinking about it. It's like, what could you do to add new for F-Zero just to quote-unquote innovate it? It's like, add a forward attack. Add a backwards attack. Those aren't things in the game. There you go. You innovate F-Zero. It's that easy.
yeah.
It's like, shit. I hate it. I know Joan would have been fucking baffled by this. I was kind of wishing he'd be here because I'm sure he would have been like, what the fuck? That's all it needs? It's exactly why it took so long for a Metroid game to fucking come out. What took them so long to innovate it? We added a parry system. It took you fucking 6 years to make a parry system? Shit.
Yes. It did.
So yeah, since 2004, F-Zero's come out. It's 2021 now. It's been 17 years. It's gonna be 18 real soon. Still no F-Zero game. Because they can't think of one mechanic. Baffling.
I mean, it just goes back to the same discussion that we've had off of recording. It's the how the community is able to do that better than the actual developers.
Yeah, it's crazy too. I haven't seen a lot of the custom tracks people have made for F-Zero GX, but it's like, yeah, people have found the track editor in that game. People have made their own tracks since then. And that's all it takes. You just, again, people don't want new mechanics. It's nice if there are new mechanics, but a lot of times people just want more of the same thing they have that's already built on a good system.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all it takes, because no one liked the sequels to Wind Waker. Those games are pretty fucking bad.
I'm pretty sure what it has to do with is the willingness to pay. The willingness to pay and the willingness to actually do the work. Because if they're gonna pay them hardly anything just to add more tracks, then it probably wouldn't make it worth it for the developers to actually do it.
Well, it also depends how much you sell for, honestly. It's what's one of those things, prices of games have gotten so weird lately, where it's games started out way back in the day, like when the Atari was out. They started at $60. Today games are still $60. They're barely starting to get to $70 now. And it's like, even some AAA games, AA games, they come out at $40.
Well, I guess
Like,
where
you
I
can
was
just
trying
make
to
a
hit at
like a new
was,
F-Zero GX
was-
game, quote unquote, and just like sell more tracks and be like, $20, 4 tracks. Knowing
But that's-
Nintendo, they'll make it a bundle, so they'll
right.
sell it for $60, like with Bowser's Fury.
Right. What I think I was actually trying to get at, if there was like any confusion, but I guess what the company is willing to pay the programmers compared to compared to the work that they would have to put into working on the game itself. So I think that's where the problem would lie, because sure, the company could sell it for more money, but the company would probably just take more of that money than give back to their actual programmers and developers.
Again, I can't see why they, knowing Nintendo, they'd probably sell it as a bundle. They'd be like, here's F-Zero GX with more tracks, but then they'd make it a bundle like with was it Super Mario 3D World. It's like, oh look it, you can't buy Bowser's Fury on its own. You've got to buy it in the bundle, so it's $60 again for new content on the side. It's like, so knowing Nintendo, again, they can easily just scum it out like they did with the fucking, was it the Mario 3D collection? It was just 3 games that they ported, and now it was just $60. There you go.
And I think that's exactly what I mean, is they the willingness to actually work and add that new content to compare to how the willingness to pay the actual workers.
Again, they'd be willing to pay it. It's just who wants to make the new tracks and who wants to fix up the mechanics to make it good. Who knows? Again, seeing seeing Nintendo, I don't think F-Zero's on their mind even for a long shot. They're probably making another Mario game that they haven't announced yet. They're still working on Metroid 4 and Breath of the Wild 2, so I can't imagine they're going to be working on anything else. Oh, and the Kirby game. So yeah, I highly doubt F-Zero's even close to a twinkle in their eyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, actually, since we're talking about it, other than Stadia, it'd be nice if they could remake an Earthworm Jim.
You know what? Hold on. Let me look up something real quick. Cause you remember the Amico?
Yeah. That trashy game system. Fuck that.
Let me look that up real quick. Cause Amico was supposed to have the Earthworm Jim coming out.
Yeah. We were talking about this at one point. I think it was in another podcast, or it was off recording again.
It was on the podcast a long time ago, but since
then, it was either right.
It is.
I haven't heard anything about it, right?
Wait, it's out? Is it? No, it's still in pre-order. So it's still not out.
Dang. Has it been almost half a year since we talked about it?
I think it's been like a year and a half since we talked about it. Okay, yeah, so it was first announced in May 2019. That's what I thought. It had been announced in 2019. So it's been over 2 years.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that we had talked about it after the release announcement, the release date announcement.
Oh, we definitely have, because the whole point with the Amico is that they showed off their shitty games, and then they showed off like a snippet of Earthworm Jim. It's like, that's a new game. What the hell is that? Right.
So, most likely a year then. It's most likely been a year since we had talked about it.
Yeah, it's said to release of October 10th last month. It's still not here, so where's the Amico? Who knows?
Whether or not we're getting an Earthworm Jim, nobody knows.
It's gonna be stuck on the Amico. Oh, hold on. I just saw that. It's gonna be coming out the end of March of next year.
We'll see about that one, Chief.
I guess we'll see. God damn, that console will never come out. It's been pushed back 4 times! 4 times!
Holy crap. Oh, man. That's about as bad as Dying Light 2.
The game pushed back 4 times. Make it 5. Will it ever be released? The world will never know. Time will be held still, as we are doomed for eternity.
Well, I mean, like we said, we still got the potential for Road Rash and Motocross.
Road Rash, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, just from like how those games would probably come out, yeah, I believe any of those games would come out before a fucking F-Zero game. It's more likely to get those games than anything else.
You're right.
I think out of everything that we discussed before we end this podcast, I think the only cool thing to come out of anything would probably be Cruise and Blast. I think it's real neat to see that they're actually putting their games back on consoles, because they've been sticking to the arcades for like 20 years now. So I think it's cool to actually see some of their games coming back on the consoles. I'd like to see some of their older shit come back. Because they did make they made a lot of cruising games, but they also made some other games. They made some Hydro Thunder games. They made a snowmobile racing game. I don't know if you remember that one. They had it in Chuck E. Cheese for a bit. That was also them. I want to say they also made a lot of the Need for Speed racing games in the arcades, because they honestly played the same as Cruise and Blast. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see an old company come back onto consoles. You know?
Right. I mean, well, we already talked about it. House of the Dead. I mean, other than racing games.
That's true. We haven't got any news about that, but yeah, House of the Dead's coming back.
Honestly, I did a separate talk about it on my YouTube channel, trying to discuss where the development of the House of the Dead is at right now. I'm still trying to look into it. Honestly, I still need to. Maybe it's on their Twitter page or something, discussing their development or something. But there's a lot of people in the community that are trying to figure out like what the heck's happening with House of the Dead, and honestly, they haven't really released too much news. Actually, you know what? They probably released some news. I just haven't done enough digging. I'm slacking on my research. But as far as I'm aware, I haven't really seen any Twitter posts regarding its development. As for how well it's going to run on the Switch, I'm pretty sure it's going to be really harsh. Maybe that's why they're taking so long to announce the next trailer, is because they're trying to find a way to smoothly optimize the House of the Dead for the Switch.
You know, that's true, because yeah, you're saying that a lot of the shots they showed there wasn't a lot of enemies in it, because it's just House of the Dead 1, right?
Yeah, it's just a remake of the House of the Dead 1.
Yeah, I'm not too well versed with 1. I played 2 a whole lot. I only played 1 a couple years ago. It still has the multiple pathways, so it's like I'm not too sure which pathway would have the most enemies, because a lot of the shots they showed, I think there's been like a total of like 3 enemies on screen or something like that.
Yeah, about 3 or 4, and that was about it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know which pathway would have the most enemies, so maybe you're right. Maybe they're optimizing it for like that area.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like the most difficult parts of the House of the Dead is the bat scenes, when we're going up against the bats and all the flying enemies. That might cause an issue because there's probably like colliding animations and whatnot.
Yeah, so who knows? It's a whole new system, and I think that's the harder part with just the Switch in general, is that it's such a weird optimization thing. It's like you have to really know how to optimize it. Even Nintendo doesn't know how to optimize it really well at times. Have you seen the fucking N64 shit?
No, honestly I haven't.
Yeah, their recent bundle with the N64 stuff. Fucking, there's a dude who's playing his he was playing Ocarina of Time with his Japanese account, and the game just bugged out. It went to a frame rate of 2 frames a second, and then it just crashed. It's like, nice.
Holy crap, that's pretty sad.
It's like, wow, Nintendo, even you fucked up. Surprising. This is your first fuck up. It's with your new shitty service. Nice.
Eesh. Yikes.
Love you, Nintendo. Love you. Love you.
Oh, man.
But yeah, again, Nintendo's such a weird console of optimization. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they are just trying to optimize it properly, because once you get running on the Switch, it can basically run on anything.
Right.
It's always baffling how you can just make a game just chug, even if it's like not too intensive. Like what you're just saying with Skull. I'm kind of surprised you're saying that game was chugging too. It's like, really? That's surprising.
Right. But it's funny how they can optimize games like Mario Kart and have it just run really smoothly.
Yeah, or like Bowser's Fury or stuff like that. And it's like, it runs like a dream. It's like, how do these run really well and some games just don't? It's insane. It's like such a weird optimization thing for Nintendo Switch. It's really weird.
Yeah, and you'd figure that with some of the low res games and pixel games that they would run the smoothest, because honestly it would seem like they hardly require any animation at all. But when it comes to like Bowser's Fury, like Mario Odyssey, things just run as if there's no issues whatsoever.
Runs as butter, the console isn't overheating or nothing. It's like, wow, this game's running smooth. And then you have games like fucking Deadly Premonition 2 where it's like, that game is struggling to hold itself to fucking together, man. That thing is burning. That game's fucking chugging.
Right, and it's funny because Pokemon, I mean, granted, Game Freak is the one that actually makes the game. But Pokemon being one of their most popular franchises as well, this recent Pokemon game with the Pokemon Sword and Shield, I actually had some optimization issues when like things are loading into online and offline. So there's a transition where it has to load everything that's online, so that way you can populate with all the players that are playing online.
Right. And
then switching out is pretty much just as bad, unless you move to a new section of the map, so that way you can reload everything. But
I guess that makes sense.
But other than that, it isn't too bad. You can see some optimization issues. Samurai Jack. I got Samurai Jack for the Nintendo Switch, and
yeah, how's that run?
It was through limited run games. It looked like they had optimized it for the Switch. Man, that shit's hard to play. That shit is hard to play just because the frame rate drops so hard, and there's like maybe 3 or 4 enemies on the screen. So it's like, wow, how is this any harder than the console games? It's like you still have only like 3 to 4 enemies, and it's still running pretty difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's whack. I mean, other companies somehow figure it out too. How to optimize games, even when they port it over. What's it called? Okami. That's a game that runs really damn well. It works super good since it was a Wii game. They optimized that and made it really good. Same with RE6. RE6 runs really damn good on the Switch. It's like, how the hell did you guys get RE6 to run on the Switch?
Right. That's like, if you can do that with RE6, why not do it with the rest of the games?
Well, why can't we get RE4 Wii Edition on the Switch? That's what people wanted.
I have a feeling it's because it has to do with like old coding, very, very old coding.
Again, you say that, but they got Okami. That's a Wii game only.
Yeah, that's a Wii game, but looking back at it, Resident Evil 4 was back on the 360.
Well, that's when. Well,
actually, no, that was back to the GameCube.
Oh,
right?
so it was on the PS2 and GameCube, but that's what I'm saying. RE4 on the Wii, because they remade it for the Wii, so it had motion controls with the Wii remote and all that.
Right, and to get it to run well on the Switch, it's like, it's like where was that gap? Where was the difficulty?
As I'm saying, if they got Okami to run, I can't imagine why it's. Maybe it's just programming hell just to remake them, just to make them run well again. Because I have to remember, Okami wasn't just only brought back on the Switch; it was also brought back on the PS4 too, along with other consoles. So I don't know. Maybe they don't want to bring it back because maybe they had to add like a whole new slew of controls to modern consoles that don't have motion tracking to it. I don't know. Hard to say.
Yeah, I suppose. But if we're talking about like House of the Dead, though. It takes advantage of its motion tracking built-in system.
See, that's why I say with Okami, because like the sure Okami's gyro controls on the Switch aren't the smoothest, but it still feels pretty damn good, to be honest. It's better than some other shit that's you try to use Nintendo Switch gyro controls. It feels pretty good.
Honestly, I just think Nintendo's full of bullshit. I did not feel ice cubes shake around in my controller.
Yeah, I didn't feel the 3 ice cubes. Fuck you.
I
Forgot
felt
about that.
no such thing in my controller.
Yeah, I forgot what that did. I don't hear it. Where is Nintendo? All I'm hearing is fucking keychain jangling in my ears.
That's probably all the circuits just clanging around, just.
It's everything shaking loose in the controller. No wonder why I'm getting so much drift.
Oh man, all the parts are just it's just all falling apart.
Oh, this Nintendo Switch falling apart harder than a Chinese motorcycle.
Oh man. Well, I mean, back to the whole Nintendo news. We were talking about off recording about how sometime in the future, we don't know when, they're gonna be getting another Switch console. We don't know when. Just sometime in the future.
I was just about to say, and to bring this podcast near a closing end, Nintendo recently made a statement saying that they're going to release a new Nintendo Switch console in the year 20XX. So we have potentially 78 years to get a new Nintendo console. Fucking sick. Hope you guys got a lifetime and a half to wait.
No, man. The X's count as tens, so it'd be 20. Actually, no. Yeah, so it'd be 2010. 2010.
Oh god, now we gotta wait 1,010 years. Oh no.
2010 is when it's coming out. Be prepared, you guys. You have all the time in the world to set that shit on pre-order. Do it now.
Wait, 2010. We gotta wait 20,000 years. Oh Jesus. Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
Done.
Nintendo knows how to market.
Well, I think it'd be easier to wait for the Cyberpunk of 2077 then. That'd be a lot closer than 2010.
I'm gonna go right now. I'm gonna go straight to GameStop and I'm gonna set my $5 pre-order down right now.
I think that just baffles me. That just proves that everyone's rumors about the whole Nintendo making a new console, that just proves that Nintendo's like, we're just making the OLED. That was it. That was their big improvement, which was no improvement at all. It's just better improvement for handheld.
Nah, man. Now they're actually making the Nintendo Switch oiled. The Nintendo oiled.
Nintendo oiled. Like, I can't believe it. That's it. That's all we're getting now. We just got Nintendo Switch and no new better hardware. Fuck yeah.
Unless the new Nintendo Switch is going to have the better hardware.
When's it coming out? Who knows? Who knows? It's gonna come out in a decade? Maybe.
I know. It's coming out in 2010.
You know, I think if Nintendo said 20X, I think that'd probably be a lot easier than saying 20XX, because it's like, what's this Mega Man shit? In the year 20X.
It's Proto Man. He glitched the system.
Put one more X to fuck with us.
Yes. Fucking Proto Man glitched the system.
Speaking of Sakurai, the final piece of news we'll bring up for today. Since Sora was announced the same day as the release of Nintendo All-Stars, or sorry, Nickelodeon All-Stars, not Nintendo, Nickelodeon All-Stars. Nickelodeon All-Stars and Sora came out the same day. Since then, I want to say a month and a half has passed. Sakurai finally came out saying that there was some cut content from Smash that he wanted to add, and it was adding smash attacks in midair. And he said it was just too complicated to make it work. Huh. How funny to say that, now that Nickelodeon All-Stars has heavy attacks in the air.
Shouldn't. Fucking pull a Phoenix right. Objection.
Yeah, I called the man's really salty that fucking Nickelodeon figured it out.
Figured it out. It's more like they didn't want to implement it.
It's gonna feel the same as it always has. Why don't you just do what Nickelodeon did? Make it easy. That's the whole point of the fucking C-Stick and the GameCube is that it made it easier.
Nah, man, we already established that they like to make it harder. They made it harder for us to get characters in Smash.
God, I just remember the beginning of Smash Ultimate. That shit was terrible. You only get 8 characters. Now unlock 60 more. Fuck. This sucks.
Oh, Nintendo. We love you.
We love you and criticize you at the same time.
This video is sponsored by Nintendo. We're getting monetized.
Speaking of, fuck you,
Oh,
Nintendo.
man.
I fucking hate you what you did with the Wario. Make my games good again. That's all I gotta say. Love you, baby.
Oh man. This podcast was sponsored by Wario himself. He fucking cheaped out. He cheaped out on the advertisement
Wow.
and got us instead.
This is what you get. You get Nintendo fanboys who shit over Nintendo. I mean, to me personally, I think I'd call out a fanboy. You know, saying nothing's wrong with the company, I think is too ignorant. Saying what you like about a company and pointing out their flaws, I think makes a fanboy.
Yeah, you don't want to be a Carlos.
No. Again, that's how I was that's how I was for the longest time with Wario Land 3.
Soft, and then the next thing you know, fucking Carlos. And then this was off recording, but Carlos is all like, man, I'm fed up with Ubisoft. They wouldn't give me my Ubisoft points, and I've had an account with them forever. It's like, what do you fucking expect? Ubisoft sucks ass.
They ruined Ubisoft fucking ruined Toy Soldiers. Man, me and Jordan are having a fun time with that. It's just what is it? It's a tower defense type of game. And it was fun because then, what was it? You're playing tower defense and then you can get control of one of your commanders so that you had like He-Man, Cobra Commander, and G.I. Joes. The game worked, it was super good. And then they literally put one patch out, made the game unplayable. Everyone sold their copies because you could literally not play it anymore. It just crashed every time you boot it up.
Well, way to go.
Yeah, and Ubisoft never fixed it. It's like, fuck you, Ubisoft. That was such a good game too. You fucking ruined it with the patch and never went back to fix it.
Well, here's my other bad experience that I've had with Ubisoft as well, is when I got the game The Division. At first, I thought it was super cool looking at the trailers and everything. You know, you could see all your bullet holes once you're like piercing a sort of like a really a thin object. You were able to see the bullet holes. You could see through the bullet holes, and you were able to display like a holographic map in which you can still see the background in the of the city while you were looking at the map. And then there was a whole bunch of other gadgets too that they said that they were going to implement, but they never did. So, I mean, already that just kind of goes to show that Ubisoft doesn't really like to hold up to their word unless it's Assassin's Creed or I forget. Hitman is also Ubisoft, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I want to say they also made make XCOM? I want to say so. Because that was the whole point with Rabbids Cross Mario. Because that was an XCOM type
yeah,
game.
man, don't you like those tactical-based shooters?
I mean, people like XCOM. I don't know. I think it's good. I don't know. I don't know.
Man.
The only game I like from Ubisoft would be Zombie U on the Wii U. That's it.
Yeah.
It's still cool. I need to beat it one day.
Well, I guess that's it. That's it. We bashed on all that we could bash on for today. Tune in next time to bash for more.
Bash more games and play in chat and praise Hot Wheels like never before. If we were sponsored, I'd be sponsoring Hot Wheels, and StrayDevilFox over here would be sponsoring Midnight Ghost Hunt.
Yeah, Midnight Ghost Hunt. Oh yeah.
Two solid games. Two really solid games. I just wish Midnight Ghost Hunt was out, because it's only gotten slightly better.
Yeah.
So far, there hasn't been any downsides besides just balancing some weapons.
Honestly, we could maybe that could be our next podcast. We can talk about the about Midnight Ghost Hunt,
Uh,
or maybe some of the recent
Yeah.
betas that we played. Because honestly,
maybe.
with
Yeah.
Midnight Ghost Hunt, we could talk. I think we can talk about it as long as we're not like streaming it.
No, yeah, we can definitely do that. Yeah, I'll make the background. So next time for the podcast, I will choose Gmod prop hunt.
Sounds good.
Because that was basically I don't know if it was the origin of prop hunts, but that's one of the few games I can think that started with prop hunts. So yeah, it'd be interesting because there's been a couple prop hunt games that have come out since then. Because I know was it Black Ops 4? I think it was Black Ops 4. I think they added a prop hunt mode before.
Yeah,
They,
Black Ops
switched
had a
to
prop
Warzone.
hunt. There's this other recent game that they made. I forgot what it was called, but it was a mix between Dead by Daylight and
Yeah, you talked about
prop hunt. Yeah, I talked about it with you off recording as
Yeah,
well.
I remember that.
It was just pretty garbo.
It didn't look too good from the footage, if I remember correctly. It was like, one of those half-baked games. They just want money. But yeah, that sounds like a plan, though. I'd be down for that. Yeah.
Well, there we are.
Alrighty. So you guys know what to look for next time. This has been Playing Chat, episode 14, I believe. I've been the Handsome Cat. You know where to find me. You're on my channel. If you want to see me on Twitter, hit me up. Ask me any questions on my Twitter at TheHandsomeKat. This has also been StrayDevilFox. His link's in the description for his YouTube channel. You can also find him on Twitter at StrayDevilFox.
Alright. See you guys. See ya, Stray fans and Handsome Cat fans.
Yep. See you guys next time.